If it's happening in New York, New Jersey, or Long Island, hear about it with Joe Piscopo. Mornings, 6 to 10 on AM 970. The Answer.
Bob Seger, baby.
He was a Midwest.
Did you get to a Seger? You've been so busy, Mike. Mike Lindell, the one and only, ladies and gentlemen, live in studio. We love you, Mike. 5 minutes after 9 o'clock with Piscopo in the morning, AM 970, theanswer.com, YouTube and Facebooking all around the world. Great to have you here, Mike. Did I get to a Seger concert at all, remember?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, now he's coming back. You know, he was sick for a year. I mean, he was hurt or something.
Yeah, he's okay. He's okay.
Yeah,
right?
he's okay now, and he's coming back. I have a couple hundred tickets for the Minnesota concert.
You're kidding me.
Yeah. Joe, come on.
I'm going. I am so there.
Yeah.
Remember you said Alto Reed? You introduced me to Alto Reed.
Yeah.
How great is that? He was so great. Remember that? We had so much fun over there.
Absolutely.
And
well, you guys went. Remember, I didn't get to go. You know.
I was there. I'm looking around. Where's Mike? You got me 2 tickets. Wow, it's a great show. Where's Mike? You were working or something. We got backstage passes.
Steven sending me pictures. Look at us, Mike. And I'm in Canada doing it there.
And we used your name to get backstage. You know Mike Lindell? Come on back. It was great. And you were working as usual. Mike, great to see you, man. You look good. I first got to go to the Minnesota whole big rally you had with President Trump over there. That made national news. Yeah. You and your pal, the president.
That was fun.
And you got out and you spoke in front of, 20,000 people there?
5 minutes. And I was nervous on that one.
No. Mike.
I drove. Here was my introduction. Yeah. So I get out there and I said, I was on a national, this is a true story. I said, I was on a national radio show and I could hear him introducing me as a former Democrat and the founder of My Pillow. And I said, and I got on and corrected him. I said, I didn't find My Pillow. I invented My Pillow and I wasn't a former Democrat. I was a former crack addict.
Did you actually
That's
say
how
that?
I opened up.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
Everyone there knows my story.
They know.
Okay. Basically, then I went right in. I knew nothing about politics until I met Mr. Trump, or our president, and before he was president in 2016. You know the story.
You sat down, and I think Mayor Giuliani was in the room. You said,
He came in right after, like right towards the end. Yeah. We had, and I went in and it was a private meeting for about almost a half hour, and we talked about. Inner cities. We talked about what he was going to do, bring the jobs back, and I'm so proud. Now, when I walked out of that room, I said, "There's going to be no better president in history," and he doesn't let me down. This has been amazing.
It is amazing, and I'm just worried about how I was talking to with Mike Gallagher, who was just here a second ago. Because, you and I are just like, what's best for the country? What's best for people?
Yeah.
And you and I tell every time we read the commercials and we're proud to advertise My Pillow, the mattress topper. I sleep on the mattress topper, for God's sake. And I tell it, made in America.
Yeah.
Then every piece of material in My Pillow is American.
Yeah, it's not just the $1,600 jobs or 1,600 jobs at My Pillow, which are careers now.
Yes.
And, wages going up and everything. And but it's the carryover, the ripple effect of all the jobs, the cotton from here, the fabric made here, the patented foam made in Wisconsin. I mean, all these different things. And if every company does that, when a company leaves, they take a lot with them.
Yeah.
And now we're bringing it all back. It's amazing.
And then I see we have a president, and God forbid we're pro-Trump, God forbid, but you have a president who understands that, and a president who's putting tariffs on because he understands what's happening around the world.
Yes.
And we see the crazy wackos, in Washington, they go crazy, and you sit and you watch them, and you go, why don't they try to help?
Yeah, they should try and help them. I'll tell you, I told people at that rally, I said, during the first 100 days, after the first 100 days, remember there was the Salem tour that went on, and I told people then, they said, well, what can we do to help the president? I said, well, you can pray for him every day for discernment, wisdom, and I said, now you can actually do something. Get out and vote, and because he needs help and he needs support, and this is the best way we can do it.
And so you're gonna do a big push for the midterms.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Minnesota, I've got Doug Wardlow, a good friend of mine, and he's up against Keith Ellison. And
how is that? Yeah. And again, and we always open the airwaves to everybody. Yeah. You're all welcome to join us.
Yeah.
Ellison, how's this guy still in the game, man?
I have no idea. It's I can't believe it. It's what he plans on doing, what he has said publicly he's planning to do against the president if he got in. He's not getting in. Doug pulled even with him now, and we don't even have his name on. Doug Wardlow. He's awesome. I have met him. He's a friend of mine. And he's going to be amazing. He's going to be an amazing attorney. He's so smart. He's worked with a lot of Christian foundations, and he's just amazing.
But Ellison has all those sexual allegations against him. Look what happened to Kavanaugh. That was all manufactured. This is not manufactured against Ellison.
Right.
These are documented police reports.
Yeah, and they just bury it.
They bury it, man. It's scary. So thank you for your fight, man. And you're always so positive. And when the president gave the shout out in North Dakota,
okay, I got to tell you this. Okay?
Yeah, please.
So I tell the president this. I had dinner with him a couple weeks ago.
Look at you.
And there was about 8 of us in there. And I said, Mr. President, I said, I got to tell you, when you did that shout out, I want to thank you. But I said there were some big newspapers that called me. And one of them called me in particular. They go, "Yeah, Mike, you must have sold a lot of pillows. The president did that shout out for you." And I go, "Well," I said, "it wasn't about the pillows. I said it was about." He said he liked the pillow, but it was about me as a businessman and buying ads. And I said, what that did is raise my level of popularity, so I could go out and evangelize and speak out about Jesus at big events like I did U.S. Bank Stadium. And the president looked at me and he goes, "What did he do then?" Or what did he say then? I said, "He hung up on me." It was great. I love the media. I love when they call me up and do those things. It's great. And then
You're right. Just to irritate him.
Then when they call me, I'll go, "Isn't he the greatest president ever?" And it'll be the most liberal paper in the country. We all know which one I'm talking about. And one of the words. And I said, "He's the greatest, isn't he?" Let's say the guy's name is Gary. "Gary, isn't he the greatest president ever?" And by the time they get done, they go, "I'm never calling that guy again."
I love the way you do that, and I love the way you the way you are through and through a religious guy, a strong man of faith.
Yeah.
And you'll see over my shoulder, I have a crucifix up there.
That's so awesome, Joe.
And only because Jesus is indeed my Lord and Savior. I make no apologies for that. But I like to irritate people with that.
I'm actually speaking, Joe, and a couple hundred, I think 200,000 or 300,000.
This is unbelievable.
Millennials in Dallas at the Speedway or whatever it is, and I think it's October 21st, 22nd. It's called Together, the Pulse event. I mean, I let them, just like I did at U.S. Bank Stadium, I'm leading everybody in prayer, and I'm telling my story for about 10 minutes. They're trying to keep it under 10 minutes. It might be 20.
What a surprise! Wait, so it's like at a speedway. That's 200,000 people.
Yeah. There's 200,000 or 300,000. It's called the Pulse event. It's Together 2018, and there's gonna be all kinds of religious evangelists there and speaking and music and I'm doing. I might even be speaking a couple times, 20 to 30 minutes.
Holy moly! To millennials?
Yeah, they're mostly millennials.
How did they get millennials?
I did at U.S. Bank Stadium. I did that.
Yes, that was huge.
And I led them in prayer for 1 minute. I don't even know what I said, but that was the God. That was the Holy Spirit. I didn't know what. But I said, "This can be your prayer pillow."
You did not prepare the speech.
No, I didn't know. No.
And you were going in front of there it was 100,000 or something.
There was 50,000.
50,000. That was the pillow fight where you had the pillow fight.
Yeah.
So you don't prepare the speech and you just do off the top of your head.
Yeah. Well, I know my own story. Right?
Yeah, you tell. Well, you tell your story. You tell your story.
Yeah. I mean, I bring up the drug dealer intervention. I mean, how many people can say drug dealers did an intervention on you?
Do we do the movie yet? Can we do that?
That's coming up. We got the book coming out in January, February at the latest, Joe. We're gonna have fun on that.
So, and also, I got to tell you about when you talk to the president about inner city, and when you're ready, I want to so help with that, because what I don't understand, and I rail about this all the time on the show, Mike Lindell, is going in and helping the stressed areas, putting in manufacturing in the stressed areas, going out. They don't think about it. It's everything they take. I don't know if it's a distraction on the Democrats. They don't have an initiative. When I was coming up, and I was a lifelong Democrat, they would worry about things like inner cities.
Right.
You talk with Ben Carson in a religious way, but you also talk about help. You have a whole plan for the inner cities.
Ben's doing great stuff with his Envision Center. There's so much getting done with the inner cities now. But my thing, it's Lindell Recovery Network. Now imagine... it'll be about a month. It'll be out, and what this is, just like me, my friend that came back to me, and when I quit cocaine and crack, he was my equal, and he had been for 3 years. He had found Jesus. 3 years he had been clean, and I had all these questions for him. Okay, now with my network, I imagine a 22-year-old opiate addict might not relate to a 50-year-old meth addict. So now what you do is you're going to put in I'm going to be like a tour guide on the website. You're going to put in your age. and you're going to put in, you'll put in your age, what you're addicted to, and all stories of hope, just like you will come down, that made it through. And then I vetted all the faith-based treatment centers, Teen Challenge, Uni Gospel, Salvation Army. These are over here, and I'll say, hey, you guys, go here. This works, and then I'm going to get the addicts to go there. Then when they get out, I'm going to have paid mentors helping the addicts, and which I'm going to be paying myself, and other people helping out. But it's all going to be donor based, and it's not going to be regular.
So if you feel you have problems, you go right online.
You'll be able to go right online, because I know an addict, and addicts have to help addicts. I mean, we've been there, and it's going to be amazing. And to get it's like a match. You match someone up.
Yeah.
You're able to see 20-year-old opiate addicts that made it through. Just it gives you hope. What it is, it's a platform of hope, Joe.
What a life!
Platform of hope.
I'll tell you, and this is why the Lord had you go through all that. I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
But for you to have the top drug dealers in Minneapolis come to you and go, hey man, you're really going too far. I mean, these are drug dealers in the inner city.
Let me tell you about that too. When they did that intervention that time, I went down. One of them fell asleep. The other two had left, and I went down the streets of Minneapolis, and I couldn't buy crack anywhere. It was like 2:30 in the morning, and I came back upstairs, and he's waiting for me, and he goes, "How'd that work out for you?" And I was so mad. I've been up for 14 days, and he goes, you know what? Because I was always telling him, he goes, you made a promise to us that someday that this pillow company is just a platform for God, and you're going to come back, and you're going to help us someday. And he goes, we're not going to let you die on us. And now these guys have told my book writer, saying, he said all this stuff back then, and to come to fruition is pretty amazing.
They told the dealers on the streets, don't give.
Oh yeah. They interviewed my one dealer. He goes,
my one dealer.
They interviewed Joe the other day. He works for now.
Joe the dealer.
Christian, but he goes, his name is Joe too. Okay. But Joe says, Joe told him, he says, the book writer says, he said, well, how did you get them cut off in the streets? These are addicts out there. He goes, we just went down and said, if you see some crazy white guy with a mustache, he goes, don't sell anything.
The only white guy.
God bless you, I made a mistake too, because I kept offering $100 I'll give you $100 for $5 worth. Well, they're going looking at me like, what are you talking about? As I got further out, so I kind of was
And I have to stay on that for a second, because there's so many people that have addiction problems. The night before, you knew you were going to stop, but That was
January 16, 2009, and I knew if I waited one more day, not necessarily a bottom, but I knew I would lose, that what God had picked me for, my calling, was going to be gone forever, which was my evangelistic calling, and it wasn't just to make a pillow. That's just the platform, and I knew that was like, Joe, I always say the old-fashioned black and white tees where you turn them off that little blue dot, and then you turn it back on when you were a kid before it went out. I did that. That's right. That thing was going out, and then but I turned back. It didn't all come back to life right away, though.
Yeah. but how did you say, okay, that's it? It's the next day. You had no inkling, no desire.
He freed me of the desire. I said, God, please free me of the desire.
No physical.
The desire. I never had the physical desire.
Wow.
Now, I did go back eventually. A couple months later, I went to our church, and it was a treatment center they had there, and I went in there. It was different than anything I've ever been to, where they go back and address the inner pains that a person has, that why you're addicted in the first place. Most would come from childhood. Mine was a divorce. I was 7 years old. My parents divorced. Divorces weren't common back then.
Oh boy.
The family unit, they pulled a prison, Joe, and I think it was in Kansas somewhere.
Yeah.
How many of the inmates? Now this is felons. How many of them do you think both their parents planned them, or got married, then planned them, had them, and that were still married while the inmate was in there? 0%. You get to county level jail, then it goes up to 20-30%.
Yeah.
It just shows you how important family and God are to us.
So you're reaching out to the inner cities.
That too, and prisons. I'm doing all kinds of stuff, but inner cities. Absolutely.
You're so close to the president, and I always say, like we talked to some of his financial guys here, doing the whole tariff situation, and we always try to give suggestions. And sometimes we think they listen on the show, but any help you need, if the president ever said, okay, Mike Lindell, Ben Carson, and we're going to go city to city, and we're going to rescue Chicago and Oakland and East St. Louis, and we're going to go all across Patterson, New Jersey. We're going to go out. What would the Democrats say? What would the other side say? Except that they'd be forced to help, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I would think so. I'm in Minnesota now, and I just did the Minnesota State Fair. And I told the
saw that. That was great.
I told the president this too, and I was. There was I probably had 1,000 people come up to me, Joe, and say, yeah, and they didn't say, "Oh, I love your pillow." They said there was either two things. One, your story inspires me. Your story of redemption, of coming to Jesus, and then the other one was, "Thank you for backing our president. We love him and we are behind him." Only one person out of the 1,000 came up to me and he kind of goes, "I love what you're doing, but you're aligning yourself with the worst person." And I go, "Wait a minute, I've met him. I know what he's doing. Have you?" I got a little loud. He looked around. He took off. He goes, "I got to go." So that's becoming a small voice. I really think that, and because they don't know how can you argue with what's going on? It's like I said at the rally. I said, everybody loves our president. They just don't know it yet. Seriously, they're all going to go, what can they say?
Tell me what happened with you and the president with the picture. You took a picture
together?
together?
When they took a picture of the back, he goes, "Bring that camera over here, Mike, and I got to judge this." He goes, "Just me."
He's looking at it.
So particular. He's so awesome.
But very grounded, down to earth. I mean,
just so down
all
to
the
earth,
bluster, all you see. Sometimes he feels like he has to defend himself, but sometimes that's misconstrued.
And people ask me, he's so confident. Here's what I tell people. I think the confidence that he spreads, that like even in Minnesota, the confidence is so high. The optimism, the optimism that it spreads throughout everywhere. They're going, wow, businesses. I have my employees. They're out there. They knew anytime they could go take go be an entrepreneur, and if it didn't work out, they could come back to My Pillow and you'd be right where you left off. But now they're taking those chances because it's like a confidence in other businesses I see, out there expanding, and they're because of the president's confidence.
Yeah, I agree that.
And he's such a good listener. I watch him and things. The listening, I think what people don't, he'll take it all in, and he makes these amazing common sense decisions. And he doesn't get rattled. It's just the guy's amazing, and he's funny.
Yeah, I've known him and I've been around him, and when he's doing his Dianne Feinstein impression in front of 20,000 people, I was actually genuinely funny,
Oh, yeah.
And he gets away with it. But so you're here, and Mike, you're a man of God. You're not going to try to pull the wool over anybody's eyes.
Absolutely
when
not.
you do your product, you keep it. You could be in China. Mm-hmm. You keep it here. You do everything that's good. I know you as a man that is so good, and you're telling us, Mike Lindell, that this president, to the core, is a good person.
Absolutely, 100%. His heart, is just to help people, help the country. He loves the country, and he loves people. Do you know, Joe? Before the election, I went to his employees. I'm staying now right here in the city in one of his, his place, but I've talked to his employees. I don't, this was beforehand. Every one of them's like talking to one of my employees. They love him. They've all have an individual story where he has went to them, personally helped him out, or just said kind words to him, because that's where he is.
And like with your employees, they've been with him for 30 years.
Their careers. And if you think back, I tell people this all the time, think back before the election. You don't know how many employees they approached and tried to find someone to say a bad thing about, and they couldn't find one.
No, interesting.
You think about that. That tells a lot about the man.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Mike, God bless you. Thanks for your spiritual guidance in so many ways. Thanks for being such a good friend. Thanks for being on the show. And you and I got something to talk about come December and January.
Yeah.
We have these vitamins.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome, Joe.
All wellness and everything. I'm very excited about that.
It's going to be the biggest launch of Healthy and ever.
I love these guys, the knuckleheads in the studio. I love our boss and everything. But one of the great joys is meeting you, Mike Lindell, and just being your friend.
It's my favorite show. Everyone goes, "You're going out with Joe. You two, it's great. It's a lot of fun."
I love you, Ben, and God bless you.
Joe.
Thank you, Mike. Keep the fight. We're right with you.
Right.
Mike Lindell, the one, the only, the legendary Mike Lindell, one of my all-time favorite people in the universe. Just a great, great guy.
Everybody knows this guy. Now, everybody knows he can do a radio show. Joe Piscopo. Mornings, 6 to 10 on AM 970. The Answer.